What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMGGift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMGGift. Enjoy the video. Okay, everybody, we are back, and we are going to go through 40 through 31 in this video as we continue the countdown for worst to first in Dragon Champions. And we're starting with number 40, and that is Xantera. Now, Xantera used to be one of the best healers in the game, and she has fallen off for me a little bit here with, you know, the emergence of more powerful healers and the demon comp really not even needing a healer. But now that they broke apart the demons, as far as, you know, you have your slinger led team with Xantera and Mega Wheel, you know, and she got to rework a little bit to benefit that. She's not as low as she once would have been. You know, she used to be like a top 2 healer for me, and she's kind of like fallen off on that aspect. And, you know, when we look at her kit, she has restores 1 turn to a random ability on her passive, and then an ally's ability, and that is neat, but it doesn't really benefit her move kit a lot. And, you know, she needs something just a little bit more in that aspect. Now, what really makes her better is that she's healing and restores as much health to herself and Mega Wheel, so you're getting a double heal on Mega Wheel to increase the survivability of your team, so I really like that. And then gain shield equal to 5% of her maximum health for each living demon in the party, because she was a little squishy even though her stats say otherwise. And heals an ally with the lowest health by 100% of the damage dealt. Perfectly fine with that. It's good basic for a healer. But as we go over and we kind of look at her stats, speed 140 is about the range for a healer. You know, her health and shield combination is over that 50k threshold at gear 11 at 51,000, so that's okay. Her magic damage is over 3k, so like her stats say she should be better than really what she is. And I've been really playing around with that second demon team to try to maximize it, and I'll have a video for that to come. But right now, at number 40 is Xantera. I think this is a really good spot for her. She sits right in the middle, you know, and that's where she should be. She should be number 40, right in the middle. She doesn't blow you away anymore, but this changes make her just slightly better than the others. Coming up next on the list is Zelenar, and I don't have Zelenar. I'm 25 out of 80. I've been really going hard in the Winter Days tournament, but you know, with the holidays and everything, I just wasn't able to really crack through it. But Zelenar is 39 for me, and the reason he's 39 is he has another one that's based on crazy potential, but he does bring a lot of stuff to that orc comp under the Zira lead, or even a Rantha lead. But you know, instead of putting in like a Mar, you could definitely put in a Zelenar. And one of the cool things I really like about Zelenar is if you go to his passive, increases health, shield, armor, crit chance, crit damage, and speed by 10%. That's really, really big, and they're starting to split that apart where you get the Morthra and Corcoran synergy. But that doesn't really work as intended. But the increasing of all those things by 10% is pretty big. That's like 2-dot runes on his passive, so that's really solid. And then he has this tricky mechanic in his Totem of the Day where he summons 1 random totem based on air, earth, fire, and water. They can really help you. I mean, one of them heals, one of them becomes like that faux tank, so if you don't have your taunt up with Tromgar and that one drops, but it's extremely RNG based, right? Then you have his Chain Lightning. It has a 50% chance to inflict a tenacity decrease for 2 turns and a 25% chance to repeat this attack. The tenacity decrease is one of my least favorite debuffs in the game, but I feel it should be a little higher than 50%. And the 25% chance to repeat this attack I'm okay with, because repeating an AoE, pretty low cooldown of 3 turns. He brings a variety of things that I really feel he's a solid spot for 39. He's you know, mid-tier, that higher end mid-tier, because if you get the right totems, he's much like Buff in the RNG. If you get the right things, he's really, really good. Now, his speed for a mage, 137 is on the low end for a mage. His health and shield combo is over that 53k, if I could talk, 50k threshold, which is where we want him. Magic damage is over 3k to start, right? Does some good things there. His crit chance is ungodly low at 16%, so you really got to try to make that better. Potency is a solid 31 to come in, so I really like him as, until you have enough to split off that orc team, or they buff Corcorum or Morthra just a little bit more, Zelenar is a really good plug-and-play option. He's good in the raids. He actually is sneaky good for tournaments that require orcs, because a lot of people don't know how to fight him yet, and that RNG can really screw you up. And in tournaments, like, you might be able to go in and blow through a Zelenar team, no problem. But then there's that times where the RNG falls right and it kills your kill streak. So he is a tricky character, and his kit is really super simple for the AI to play. You're pretty much dropping a totem, using your chain lightning, and then your basic. That's all you're doing. It really can't screw it up. Coming in at 38 is my man Puncherface. And on the recent update, if you click and hold, it takes away the stuff so you can really see the character design. I just want to throw that out there. I think that's really cool. But anyways, Puncherface. Puncherface is an oldie but goodie, and his kit is really, really just kind of solid. And he can be a plug-and-play character. He definitely helps you out in the plug-and-play viability. He has one of the best passives in the game, where he increases his speed by 20. That is like a 2.5 dot rune strictly on his passive, so that's really solid. But his Earthquake ability, he applies Taunt for 2 turns, so just Potency Tenacity check is all you gotta do, and it deals 210 physical damage, which isn't ungodly bad. Then he deals 400 physical damage and a 50% chance to gain haste for 2 turns, just making him faster. But this Earthquake ability is really what takes him to this spot. I mean, he becomes very plug and play. You have to focus on him early in contests to get him out of there, so it can kind of change your strategy up. You know, Puncherface speed is at 139, but he's giving himself 20 off his passive, so he's pretty much, if you get that up to level 6, he's starting with almost 160 speed. That's pretty good. Take that all day. Now, his health and shield combination, he is a squishier character. 45k at gear 11, so before runes and all that stuff, I mean, you can easily get that over 55 or 50k threshold, probably up in the 55s really, without blinking much of an eye. But the problem for me that really comes in with Puncherface is his potency is 25, and you need that to get that taunt up. Like, I haven't re-runed this guy in forever. He's still got 2 dot runes on and just junk like that. But a speed potency set is really where this should be, with the speed here. And that's what kind of brings Puncherface. His survivability and his potency really just bring him down a notch there. But he's a very, very serviceable character. He's really withstood the test of time. They haven't tweaked Puncherface much, and he's very deserving of being top mid-tier in the game. Coming in at 37 is Rin the Unseen. And Rin the Unseen, I think she's going to go up the list more when these things split. And Rin can be a damage dealer for sure in that Kinley-led Panda team. But she's got some things that kind of hold her back from being even better. She's a very good character. I enjoy her, and you can really, really crank up the damage with her. Her passive ability is quite a mouthful, but she gains invisible for 1 turn at the end of her turn. 40% chance to do that. And then for each living allied panda, defender, and warrior, she gets another 20%. So with that Kinley-led team, she's guaranteed to go invisible after her turn every single time. And it really makes a world of difference. And then she gains counterattack and damage increase and recovers 50% of her turn meter. This is kind of like that charge ability on Sergeant Pigwald. I don't care for it. The counterattack is so blasé, in my opinion. I don't know why the pandas have that, or basic. The kunai, she tosses these things at 3 enemies, but it's only 100% physical damage. Now, she does have the counterattack, But you're looking at like a goblin that has counterattack, and they're doing 180, 210. That needs to be bumped up, maybe 150, something like that, to give it a little more oomph, because you're kind of torn between this character of how fast do you want her to go, do you want her to do the damage, things like that. But her Fan of Blades is just awesome. But again, it's a low damage. 150 physical damage to all enemies. I mean, we're seeing AoEs do 400. You know, Puncher Face's basic was 210. I mean, that's kind of what we this needs to get just a little bit higher. She does. The fact that it is reset and she recovers 50% of her turn meter if she kills somebody is really, really solid. But again, it's just kind of lower damage, and I think those multipliers into her move kit is really what's holding her back, because her stats are pretty dang good. Rin the Unseen starts with 165 speed. That is exceptional, and it really stops you from putting those speed set in there. Now you could, because the multiplier on that is really good, but her damage is going to kick back. Her health and shield combination, though, a little bit under 41k. But she now has that invisibility component into her mechanics, so that really makes a difference to me. Being a standalone character not put into the Phantom faction kind of hurt her, because she needs that to become survivable, or you're going to have to sacrifice damage to keep her up. So that's, again, another reason why she's there. The reason why Rin the Unseen's at 37 is because she needs to be really running that panda comp to really maximize her potential. She can be used plug and play, don't get me wrong, but she's going to be a lot harder to keep alive, and you're going to sacrifice what you want on your runes to keep her alive. Staying here with the pandas at 36, we have Lake. Lake is... he could be way higher. Could be way, way higher. But the reason he's not is they need to rework this. Teachings of the Great House. Now, this is great for Rin the Unseen, and it ups her damage. It ups all pandas' damage, but we have two pandas who have counterattack. They're not even in this specific team, if you think about it. Master Duo, Rin the Unseen, go to the Kinley team, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. If this was reworked to benefit the burn comp, wow, he would be way higher. This guy can really crank out some damage, and, you know, he increases his tenacity by an additional 5% for each living panda in the party, spreads that over to Ember. Great. You know, keeps him from being stunned or whatever. Right here, he gains an accuracy increase, debuff immunity for 2 turns, heals himself. If Ember is on the battlefield, they both gain a damage increase for 2 turns. Now, normally I don't like these moves, but this is a full heal, so I'm okay with that. You're healing yourself by 30%. And then on top of that is you're getting an accuracy increase and a debuff immunity, and a damage increase if Ember's there. So, to me, that isn't a wasted move. You're just not putting up crit chance and getting turn meter. No, you're actually healing yourself, and that can become super beneficial. So to me, this is kind of like a faux heal where you're getting buffs as well. The refreshing stream can really, really crank, and it becomes beneficial for Ember. But this move, if you have burns up everywhere, you can build a burn team, and he can just nuke people. Now, he's kind of like a niche character for that panda team or the burn team, but man, oh man, can he crank some damage. They fixed that leadership ability, and he would go up. Now, Lake has a very healthy 157 speed to start, so you can definitely get him over 200, 220 with ease if you want to go that route. Health and shield combination, 42k, low end there. Now, his magic damage is only 2800. So that's kind of concerning to me, because you're torn between, do you give him the crit chance, crit damage? Do you give him the crit chance, damage? So that's kind of like a concern for me. His runing options can be a little bit weird. Potency, though, 75%. Wow, that's amazing. Love it. You can get this guy to 100% potency with ease, no problem. You know, you can put that northwestern rune right up there, and, you know, you're almost at 95%. You can just pick up a couple here and there. You don't got to put on a full potency set or anything like that. Based on what he does to the pandas, based on the damage he can deal, is why he's where he's at, and why he's not higher is that leadership just needs to change. Number 35 is Salvador. And you're probably saying, Salvador 35? Well, think about it this way. We have damage dealers in Pride that are extremely squishy. Keggy, Boris, Raval. We have Renara, who's the best Pride in my opinion. But if you don't have Salvador in there, even without a Hera on a full Pride team, you can walk over him. Salvador is built perfectly for the Pride, and he can be a plug-and-play defender. He has one of the best moves in the game in Steel Shell. And if you're unfamiliar with Steel Shell decreases all damage taken by 90%, and then on top of that, he has a 50% chance to gain debuff immunity. So, just unbelievably solid, right? And then on his basic, he has a 40% chance to gain shield equal to 10% of his maximum health. That should be at least 75%. He's an old school tank. He's slow as hell at 95. And I used to think like, oh man, we got to speed up Salvador. No. Leave him where he's at. Like this, I actually got to re-rune him because I got him a little too fast for what I want him to do. I'm putting him on a team with Kagi, who gives a haste increase. He's underneath Hera, so he's getting that taunt right away. But when you look at the rest of Salvador, 60,000 health and shield combination, you can make this guy just beefier than hell. You can get him over 70, 75k health and shield combo, super, super easy. And, you know, the rest you don't care about. You don't care about his damage. Just let him be the meat shield. His physical and magic armor, his magic armor is low at 30%. So like I said, he can be shredded by those magic damage dealers. But his physical armor is at 43% to start. And then his passive, I mean, he almost takes no damage from a physical damage dealer. Super, super cool. 34 is Thalia. I love Thalia. And she is one of, besides Thelaine, is one of the best plug-and-play elves. She can go into so many comps. She provides so many things. Now, Thalia's speed starts at 144, middle of the road, so you can get her right around that 200 mark without really blinking an eye. Health and shield combination, 43k, so you can get her up about that. If you really want to go that route, you can get her up about that, you know, 49, 50k range. Not bad. Magic damage, almost 3,200 to start, so a little bit on the low end for a mage, but can definitely do some things to help you out. She really does have great magic armor, and the magic armor is really what benefits this character here. She can be shredded by the physical damage dealers, don't get me wrong, but having higher magic armor to me is a little bit more beneficial on a character like this because you're going to be seeing other mages in parties and things like that, so it really does help. She comes in with a great potency of 54. 54 is fantastic, and she needs potency in this move kit. You know, she increases her magic damage by 20%. When the battle starts, Thalia receives 1 generation, and she has great synergy with regeneration, so you can even put her with a Renara. Neurotoxin inflicts a damage decrease for 2 turns and slow on goblin enemies for 2 turns. Now, the slow on goblins is kind of tricky depending on if they are a General Murdoch-led team or a Major Shot-led team. Now, the Major Shot-led team are really, really beneficial because they don't counter nearly as much. Slow really doesn't affect countering, but it can help out because Dr. Frank can't get the shields up as often. So not too bad, but I like how it's only 1 potency tenacity check and she already has 54 potency to start. The Poison Vine, 240, then it chains. But what's good about this is it inflicts 2 stacks of poison on the main target and a 50% chance additional 2 targets for 2 turns. So the damage decreases as it goes. That sucks. But you put her on a poison team, she's really kind of good in that Thanisa, Amara comp. And then her basic ability, 180, deals an additional 20% of magic damage for each stack of regeneration on her. So you put her with a Renara and a Singeal, she can crank up her damage. I mean, the one time she's had like 5 or 6 stacks on. Now she's doing 300 on a basic. That's really, really good. Thalia, I still think people don't understand really how good she can be. She's phenomenal plug and play in a mage comp, in a poison comp, in that Thanisa, Amara comp. She's just really, really good. Has decent stats to push her up, and I like Thalia quite a bit, and I think her kit is kind of built to stand the test of time with plug-and-play viability. 33 is Major Shot, and I still think Major Shot has one of the most underrated kits in the game. And now that they're breaking it apart, it's even better. But he has some glaring issues. First off, he's ungodly squishy at 34k health and shield combo. Let's just get that elephant in the room out of the way. Super squishy. But Arno and his comp really makes up for it. If you can hide Major Shot and he can get to his third ability, which is Flashbang, man, that can screw up a fight. If you don't knock out Major Shot before he gets off that blind and heal block, that fight either just got a lot longer and you got to change your strategy, or you lose. Flashbang is really, really good. Now his physical damage is under 3k, just like 22 under 3k, so I'm okay with that. You know, you can bump him up to help out there. His magic armor though is only at 25%, which is extremely low, just adding to his squishiness, and his potency is at 10. So you have a lot to build with Major Shot. You're looking for potency. You're not worried about damage. He's not there to be a damage dealer, so I actually got to switch this up. Like, speed and potency on him would be way more beneficial. Then he also has an AoE on his second ability where he goes into battle mode. Alright, using this ability while in battle mode has a 70% chance to stun enemies for 1 turn. I would like to see that a little bit higher because he does have super low potency. Maybe going through that 1 potency tenacity check, but it's got that little caveat of battle mode, which sucks. But having a stun built into your kit where you have blind and heal block is really, really good. And then he restores 1 turn of a random ability at the start of his turn, so you can get this blind, even though it's on this flashbang, you can get that 7 turn cooldown. I get it. But if that's the only thing that's really on cooldown, if you're playing manually, you spam the hell out of his A1 and really only have this on cooldown. So every time he goes, you can cut that in half, essentially. So it's a 4 turn cooldown. Not bad at all. Really, really like Major Shot. I think he is extremely undervalued. I think his kit is really, really good. And now with the addition of Arno, who can just sit there and soak up the damage, lets Major Shot just do his thing, sit back, go fast, restore that abilities, increase the enemy's abilities, and blind and heal block. I like me some Major Shot, as everybody probably already knows. Number 32 is Kin Lee, and let me start by saying Kin Lee probably could be one of my favorite character reworks ever, and I'm gonna have like my post reaction to the winter patch. And I just want to say though, Kin Lee's artwork redo is so freaking cool and solid. He looks more intimidating, like a tank. Man, I just props to them on that. But anyways, Kin Lee brings a lot to the game for the Panda faction, and he's really not a bad tank. You get him early and you can use him. Now, his leadership ability, all allied pandas gain 30% of their maximum health, huge for survivability, 5% for each crit hit dealt and each buff applied. Pandas with full health recover 5% turn meter instead. Adding that caveat at the end really, really bumped him up for me. Love how they did that. He turns a whole bunch of squishy factions into something that you can work with to become survivable. His passive ability is one of the best for a defender. Every time he goes, he gets health. He's healing himself every single time he goes. He starts at a 105 speed, so you kind of want him like that 120, 130 range. Now, I have mine at 140, and it's almost just a little too fast. He appears to drop his taunt a little too much, so it's like a kind of a weird point I'm trying to find. But the more he goes, the more he's going to heal himself, but he's also going to lose that taunt. Really, his taunting mechanism, his leadership, and his passive is what really makes Kin Lee exceptional. You look at his stats, he's just a touch under 60k health and shield combination, so you could easily beef him up. He's going to get 30% of his maximum health in his leadership. Huge. You have Patriarchy healing him based off his health and the shield. Really, really good there. You honestly don't care about his magic or physical damage at all. But his armor, 35% physical armor but only 30% magic, so he is weaker versus the magic enemies, so you got to keep that in mind. If there's a physical damage dealing team like elves, if you go against like Sharp, Delman, Titania, Thalane, elves he can do really good against because a lot of them are physical damage dealers and he's not taking as much damage from them. His crit chance for a tank isn't bad. At 26, almost 27%, that plays very, very well into his lead. So that's a big plus for him. The first time I saw that, I'm like, why so much crit chance? Now I get it. Makes a lot of sense. But that's why I like Kinley so much. Great. What he does for the pandas is exceptional. You get him early on. You can build him up. He's easy to farm, and he can really make a difference as like a main or an off tank until you get like Little Baddie. You can easily put him into a Soleus-led team until you get Little Baddie up and running. He can do some things that definitely help you out. So, with that being said, that's why Kinley is where he's at. And I love the rework. But that didn't go into my rating. And coming in at 31, the last in this video, Roxy. I have a video that I'm waiting to put out because I'm still tweaking with how Roxy could be the best plug-and-play healer in the game. I really slept on her value. So you're saying to yourself, Roxy, really? But let's start with the stats and see what she can do. She has 137 speed. You can get her up to 200 speed pretty easily. Right around that mark, no problem. Health and shield combination, 46,000. Not bad for a healer. Not the best, but definitely get her over that 30 or 50k, 55k threshold, right? And she has survivability put into her kit, and we'll kind of talk about that, besides the heals, obviously. The magic damage, 3,000. Not too bad. Kind of on the low end, but again, as when we read her kit, you'll see why. Her physical and magic armor both at 33%, so very even across the board. Definitely okay with that. So her move kit is really, really cool. And I didn't appreciate it for what it was worth. Okay, and it comes down to her feather effect. At the end of the turn, Roxy gains 1 stack of feather for 2 turns. Allies with at least 1 stack of feather gain 1 random buff. Now, that doesn't say Pride, it doesn't say Kagi and Boris, it says allies. So, if anybody has feather, they're gonna get a random buff. The Haste, I've had it where it put counterattack. It's really, really solid. And the buffs you can get are right here. You can get damage increase, haste, potency increase, critical chance, crit damage, counterattack, and accuracy. You notice there's no taunt in there? Way better than Selena. That's how Selena's kit should read. But if you put her with a Pride, with a Kagi and a Boris, they get 2 random buffs. I've had Boris get counterattack, and it's crazy, right? So the feather effect, then it comes to her Shroud of Feathers. Target ally gets 5 stack of feathers for 2 turns. If Kagi is an ally and Boris, they gain an additional. Each stack of feathers reduces incoming damage by 5%. So you put this on your tank, you're receiving 25% less damage. Then they can get a random buff. Super cool. You could put this on, if you don't have a tank, and they're going after, let's say you put her with Thalane, you can put this on Thalane, so she takes less damage. The feather effect I slept on for so long in that video, I can't wait for you to see it, but I keep tweaking it on my head over and over again because I find different ways to use this character. Then check this out. Heals all allies by 400% of her magic damage, and an additional 20% of her magic damage for each stack of feather on Roxy. Then, she equally distributes all the stacks of feathers amongst her allies, giving them all that chance for that random buff. So what I do is, obviously if you gotta heal, you heal. But you put the feathers on her before you heal. Wow. You'll have 5 stacks on herself. So there is another 100%, 500% heal. It can change the tide of battle. Roxy is one of my most underrated characters, and I'd like to have somebody tell me, have you used Roxy? And if you don't have Roxy maxed out, she's not worth it. Get her maxed out, play with her runes, and I guarantee you, you'll see a difference. Roxy, 31. So my YouTube family, there it is. There is 40 through 31 in the Worst to First series. More to come on this. I hope everybody had a happy holiday and we're safe out there. If you're just finding me for the first time, consider becoming part of that XMG family. Click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss cool uploads like this. As always, leave me your comments. Let me know who I undervalued or overvalued. I'm expecting to hear it on Major Shot. I love y'all. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.